Eyes, an evolution story. Today, scientists are searching for the origins of not just human eyes, but also the many different kinds of eyes that life uses. Eyesight had its beginnings with light-sensitive cells on single-celled protists like Euglena. The earliest animals that lived over 600 million years ago were thought to be eyeless creatures. The earliest eyes were probably just simple eye spots that could only tell the difference between light, dark, and shadow. Over time, some creatures developed membranes with depressions covered with photoreceptors. Flatworms have these kinds of eyes. Science has shown that proteins known as opsins are the foundation of all eyes in all creatures. This commonality confirms that all organisms with eyes at one point shared a common ancestor. Among the first creatures with sight in the entire history of planet Earth were the trilobites. They had compound eyes, which are eyes that have many separate clusters of photoreceptors. Trilobites are likely to have had at least 4 visual type opsins, those for seeing UV light, blue light, and green-red light, plus one more called RH7. No one really knows what RH7 is used for. Fly eyes are built out of columns. Scallops have a delicate chain of eyes peeking out from their shells. Octopuses have camera eyes like we do, but with some major differences. The photoreceptors of octopuses point out from the retina towards the pupil. Our eyes have the reverse arrangement. Our photoreceptors are pointed back at the wall of the retina, away from the pupil. When the first backboned animals emerged onto land, their vision system underwent an important transformation. The cornea, which in fish is simply a transparent protective cover for the eye, became an image-forming structure. It now had air on one side and water on the other. Animals had to adapt to this new, drier environment. Your eyes act like tiny cameras installed into our heads, taking in the light your brain needs to build images. A human eye is about as big as a ping-pong ball and sits in a little hollow area in your skull. The white part of the eyeball is called the sclera. The sclera is made up of tough material and it has an important job of covering most of the eyeball. The cornea is a transparent dome that sits in front of the colored part of the eye. The cornea helps the eye focus as light makes its way through. Behind the cornea are the iris, the pupil, and the anterior chamber. The iris is a colorful part of the eye. When we say a person has brown eyes, we really mean the person has brown irises. The iris has muscles attached to it that change its shape. This allows the iris to control how much light goes through the pupil. After light enters the pupil, it hits the lens. The lens sits behind the iris and is clear and colorless. The lens's job is to focus light rays on the back of the eyeball, a part we call the retina. Your retina is in the very back of the eye. It holds millions of cells that are sensitive to light. When light hits the retina, special cells called photoreceptors turn the light into electrical signals. These electrical signals travel from the retina through the optic nerve to the brain. Then the brain turns the signals into the images you see. Photoreceptor cells are called cones and rods. They allow you to see color, shape, and motion. To see full color as we know it, humans use 3 cones, red, blue, and green. Cats and dogs have 2 kinds of cones, which are sensitive to blue and green light. Birds, reptiles, and many fish have a 4th photoreceptor that detects ultraviolet light. Mantis shrimps, by comparison, have up to 16 cones to see color. They can use polarized light as a kind of heat map to spot predators, communicate with each other, and perhaps even navigate around the ocean.